My name is Joe and I'm from Chicago. Having traveled to over 36 countries across all 7 continents, I decide to further explore my own neighborhood, so I embark on what ends up being a 9,000-mile road trip over 31 days across North America. No planning, no reservations, and no set itinerary. To make things interesting, I randomly pick challenges that I must complete along the way. Join me on this great American road trip. After leaving San Francisco, I have a decision to make. Keep going south on the Pacific Coast Highway, a portion of the highway that I've already experienced on prior trips, or begin my eastward return home and stop at Yosemite National Park. I choose the latter. As I drive to Yosemite and watch the animals in the back of a pickup truck eat, I get hungry and snack on fresh California plums.
Pretty good. Got a whole bag. Plums. There?
Oh yeah.
After I explore Yosemite Valley, I decide to go up to Glacier Point to see the sunset. With the smell of pine in the air and the sound of the waterfall in the distance, I watch Half Dome disappear into the night. At over 7,000 feet elevation, you can see the heavens as they are intended, sprinkled with stars. I can even pinpoint satellites scurrying across the sky, and an occasional shooting star as a bonus. I finally break away from the hypnotic experience and realize it's almost midnight. All campgrounds were booked upon my arrival, and overnight parking anywhere else in the park is not allowed. But no one said anything about outside the park.
So now the mission is find a place to sleep.
With my accommodations prepared, I drive a couple hours to just outside the park entrance and pull over.
Well, I did find my spot. It's here. It's pitch dark. This is where I'm sleeping tonight. I am kind of concerned about the animals. I mean, a bear could just walk up to my door right now and be like, hey, what's up? But who knows? I'm tired though. I'm going to bed.
The next morning, I am amazed at my foresight. While a bear does not walk up to my car door and say, hey, what's up? There is one close by having breakfast. This is the first time I've ever seen a bear out in the wild, so I shall name him Yogi. Yogi gets bored and walks away, so it's time for me to head out as well. I enter Yosemite again and drive across the park towards Nevada while making a few stops to enjoy my surroundings. I leave Yosemite, but I am not sure where to head to next apart from generally going eastward back to Chicago. While already somewhat off the beaten path, I see a road heading towards the mountains with a small sign saying the road is open. I'm quickly intrigued to go further off the beaten track by taking this road, but I only have a quarter tank of gas remaining and I am hungry.
Quarter tank of gas is not enough when you have no idea what the next gas station is. So I turned around and backtracked, went to the smallest town, filled up with $4 a gallon gas for 87 octane, ate 3/4 of a cow, and now that both the Kia and myself are full, I'm ready to go.
I returned to where I was earlier. Little did I know that once I head down this road, I will not see another car or person until nightfall. Not one. There will be no services of any kind along the way. What I will have, however, is severe weather including hail. This stretch of road will forever be etched in my mind with its dramatic scenery. After all that, I end up driving on a desolate highway along Death Valley and don't find a vacancy until hours later in Pahrump. I check out of the Saddle West Hotel and Casino the next morning.
So I can vouch that there's nothing in Nevada apart from Reno and Vegas.
As I fill up with fuel, I notice a wrapped car with an entourage of Mercedes and chat with the engineers from Germany. I also decide that Monument Valley is my next stop. Since there was no one and nothing to interact with during yesterday's drive, I had not pulled a challenge, so it's time to make up for lost ground.
Let's see what the box says. Be in a picture that also includes a sign with the word that starts with the letter F. Now this is easy, but I don't want any which sign that has an F as the start of a word. So I gotta figure out what would be an interesting sign close by.
I have an idea. Vegas. I leave Vegas and drive towards Monument Valley. I reach Page, Arizona and decide that it may be the last relatively large town before Monument Valley. So I find a nice hotel and spend the evening relaxing in bed, having dinner and watching a movie.
We just help y'all hire drill a hole.
Either the words on my t-shirt are getting to me, or starvation has kicked in. Either way, I head towards the closest place with food. Ooh.
Can't ask for a better view.
I just left Monument Valley. Yet again, it's late at night and I have no place to stay. Every day I tell myself, tomorrow I'm going to do something different and have a place to stay. And I always find myself in this situation.
I plan on spending time in New Mexico, so I head in that direction. Big Al, a friend of mine from Las Vegas, texts me while I'm at a gas station and asks if I can meet him up tomorrow in Denver. Although I'm currently heading in the opposite direction, and it'll be at least a 500-mile drive depending on where I spend the night, I decide why not. Challenge accepted. I'm in the neighborhood. I continue my drive into the darkness looking for accommodations. I wake up in Gallup, New Mexico and begin my drive to Denver.
So I'm driving 8.5 hours north to meet him up tonight. Figure that's today's challenge.
In addition to Big Al's challenge to meet him in Denver, I pull another challenge from the box, and it states to reenact a scene from any movie. Having much to think about between the two open challenges, nostalgia for this trip kicks in. On prior trips, the achievement was when I reached the destination, whether it was summiting Mount Kilimanjaro or stepping foot on Antarctica.
This road trip was all about the journey, not the destination. And it's been a great journey.
A journey that ends up being 9,000 miles, or over 36% of the circumference of our planet. It's been a great journey mostly due to the amazing group of people who took part in it. Whether it was a college roommate, family, old friends I met from prior travels, new friends, or complete strangers willing to take the time to contribute to my challenges. And of course, my sidekick for the first week.
After all, this is the Great American Road Trip.
There are many more who invited me to stop and say hi, but I'm simply running out of time. I reach Denver and meet up Big Al and his son.
Alright, Big Al, so you issued a challenge yesterday for me to meet up you here in Denver while I was in New Mexico. Did you think it would actually happen?
I did not. And then I start getting those texts of, hey, I'm X amount of miles out. I'm X amount of miles out. I was pretty surprised. That's a crazy amount of driving.
Yep. 8.5 hours, about 600 miles, through a huge storm, but I made it.
While Big Al and I grab drinks, I tell him my plan for the movie scene reenactment challenge. And here it is.
It's 1,105 miles to Chicago. We have a full tank of gas, half a pack of gum. It's dark, and we have sunglasses on. Hit it.
That scene is from The Blues Brothers, and it's perfect for my 1,105 mile return to Chicago. I grab breakfast and then get on the road. After a few hours of driving, I decide to find lodging in Grand Island, Nebraska and enjoy some daylight. Well, today's the last day of my Great American Road Trip from Grand Island to Chicago. Is I believe a little bit over 600 miles. I am checking out late though. It's almost noon. Morning.
I have one challenge left. I also did not use any redraws. So last challenge, buy a cup of coffee or a donut and hear about their job. That's gonna be tough.
As I think about the final challenge and reminisce on the trip again, my mind jumps to a conversation I had with an older lady while I was on the West Coast. After she found out where I had been during my road trip, she smiled and told me that I've seen more in a few weeks than most people see in a lifetime. Mark Twain put it best when he said, broad, wholesome, charitable views of men and things cannot be acquired by vegetating in one little corner of the earth all one's lifetime. I agree. Travel has always defined me. Sometimes you have to turn off the TV or laptop and go out into the world to see it for yourself firsthand. And if this great American road trip can motivate just one person to do that, then my job is done. I'm still at a loss on how to accomplish my final challenge to buy a police officer a coffee or donut in exchange for a story about their job. As I get closer to Chicago, a buddy of mine invites me over to spend the night at his place in Plainfield, so I take him up on his offer. As we have breakfast, I get an idea for the challenge. Alright, so my last challenge of this great American road trip was to find a cop and buy him a cup of coffee and a donut and ask him for one of his stories. And so I have done just that. Okay, so I've substituted Officer Chase from Paw Patrol for an actual police officer, chocolate milk for coffee, and cookies for donuts. But work with me here. I also need some police music in the background. Nah, too 1970s. Just some light background music will do. With police officer, what was your name?
Police Officer Chase.
Tell me about what you do every day as a police officer.
I put somebody in jail. I stopped some bad guys.
So officer, what kind of car is that?
Dodge one.
It's Dodge. It looks very nice. It's very clean. Did you just watch it?
Yes, I did.
Yeah? At the car wash? Or did you wash it by hand?
The car wash.
Looks like somebody's stealing your car, officer.
Chase,
Looks like we have a pursuit. Well, it's the last mile of the Great American Road Trip, and I'm heading over to my parents' house to say hello. I don't think my dad's home right now. My mom is. I didn't really tell them what time I'm coming home.
or that I'm coming over. So here's to the last mile, of which there were many miles. 9,021 miles to be exact, until this moment. It's 1,105 miles to Chicago. We have a full tank of gas, half a pack of gum.
Did you mean cigarettes?
I don't smoke.
And why are we wearing cowboy hats?
This is all I had from the stampede.
Hit it.